I don't know why it took until just now for this to occur to me, but a while ago, a new Azur Lane commander was released for the Russian battleships. Azur Lane Sovetsky Rossiya, or Weeb Russian Woman, as I usually call her. And of course, her base trait reduces the concealment of the battleship and reduces the fire chance that you will be lit on fire. Well, we also have two other commanders in this game that affect concealment for battleships. Number one, of course, would be Kondo. The other would be Swirski, who cuts down concealment regardless of ship class. And so I thought, what happens if you take Azur Lane Sovetsky Rossiya and then you put Kondo and Swirski as her inspirations? This is the build here. And what happens is we get 11.5 detectability by sea on the Tier 7 premium Soviet battleship Lenin. I actually looked at Vladivostok too, just to see, and Vladivostok is a little bit better at 11.4. These are, of course, absurd concealment numbers for a battleship this high up in tiers. And in this particular match, I don't know that the 11.5 concealment really comes into play except for once. What we're doing here on the Shards map, of course, is coming out to a flank as our team, including the Lightning, pushes into the center. But don't worry, he's going to redeem himself. He's not going to commit to the center. He is going to come out on this flank, and maybe that's because he saw me pushing down it. In any case, to play the Lenin effectively, we want to be on a flank because this is a battleship that is scientifically designed to do bow tanking, unlike every other single battleship in this game. And bow tanking can be a little bit of an iffy proposition if you get yourself stuck in one place and you're focused by multiple cruisers or there are torpedo threats and you have to move in order to avoid the HE spam or torpedoes. You don't want to be bow tanking because then your only choice is to reverse or perhaps turn broadside in front of the enemy battleship. And in the Lenin, well, it's very heavily armored. As long as it's angled, the thing is practically indestructible. But if you do give broadside, you can be dev struck very easily. So this corner is about the most perilous time in this match. The Veneto's out there, but he's not paying any attention to us. He's paying attention instead to the broadside Bismarck on our team, who is shortly going to go down. We take a shot at Veneto, but the results are not great. However, we do turn away. We want to angle toward him. Lenin is not well suited to kiting, unfortunately, because of the back of the ship, which is hideous to look at aesthetically, but also it is flat and boxy. So it's designed for catching shells. It's basically like this thing has a third broadside on the rear. You don't want to point that at the Veneto because his shells will just pen. At the same time, what we want to do is get around this island, put it between ourselves and the Veneto so he can't shoot, and then turn back in to maybe go behind that island. Mogami is, of course, there, but he's not going to be there for much longer. This is the Lenin, and this thing is evil, much like its namesake. There goes the angled Mogami for a dev strike and our first kill of the game. Glorious Soviet ballistics, of course. Lightning and Cleveland are somewhere around here toward the middle of the map. But remember, 11.5 concealment. There are benefits to this, of course, and I've explained the benefits of concealment before. The main one in this case is we get to push in toward the enemy without getting spotted as soon as we would if we had worse concealment. But the other thing is we're not spotted right now. And that means we know for a fact the Lightning is not within 11.5 kilometers of us. Or if he is, he's behind one of these islands, and therefore he cannot torpedo us. This is useful information. Imagine if our concealment was like 14 kilometers. The Lightning could be spotting us in that case, but he could be any number of places, and that might make us hesitate to push in toward the Veneto or something like that. In any case, Veneto is doing the bow tanking reverse thing, so I think he's going to reverse himself right past this island and give us his broadside. We'll see if we can't capitalize on that. We want to drive him forward. I was thinking we wanted to drive him forward perhaps into the rest of our team, including the destroyer, but the destroyer is pushing in tandem with me. So he is going to go forward, but he's going to go into the HE spam of a couple cruisers. Not quite as good as a destroyer, but still, it should cause him to lose a lot of HP. We're going to slow down as we continue going toward the island. We don't want to just expose ourselves to the Veneto and take damage unnecessarily. We want the guns to reload. We don't really want to give the Veneto a chance to shoot at us there because even though the Lenin does excel at these close-range pushes, well, it's got weak turrets. And in a game that I played right after this one, I lost all 3 of the turrets permanently. You tend to do that if you're very, very close to enemy battleships and they can deliberately aim at the turrets and completely break them. We don't want Veneto to do that, and plus, lightning is still there. We saw the torpedoes come around that corner, so we're holding off for a moment. But since the torpedoes did come around the corner, and since this game is looking very iffy, we've got our teammates on the other side of the flank kiting away from the enemies. The enemy has control of basically the center of the map. They could enter our cap at any moment, and things could really start going pear-shaped. Things should go pear-shaped for the Shimanto, but no. In fact, we get over-penetrations there, and I think maybe we just aimed a little bit too high and too far back on the hull to get the Citadel, which is unfortunate, because then Shimanto goes into lightning smokescreen and goes dark. Lightning is spotted. We cannot shoot at him, of course, because our guns are not reloaded, but Veneto is the primary target here. Veneto's presence prevents us from maneuvering, which we're going to need to do in order to dodge torpedoes. We cannot maneuver if we have to worry about angling toward this guy. He takes one last shot at us, but it's hopeless because this is the Lenin, and he, of course, gives broadside, which sends him to the bottom of the sea. There's Lightning and Shimanto still left, obviously a torpedo threat. Veneto is down. We kick it into full speed, assuming that they have probably launched torpedoes, and there they are, so we turn into a void. Keep in mind, during this entire sequence, we are going full forward, full reverse on the throttle at random opportunities in order to change our speed, and also we want to be changing our course. We've turned in toward the torpedoes. We take a shot at the Cleveland, nearly take the Cleveland out. One of our teammates can finish him. But now we can turn to the right in order to avoid any more torpedoes that might be coming from Shimanto or Lightning. Shimanto has already seen the writing on the wall. He's trying to get behind that island so he does not sink to our guns. Lightning, unfortunately, failed to get the memo. He lingered in the smoke screen for far too long. Smoke screen is gone, and, well, he just does not have enough HP to take one single salvo from these Soviet guns. There he goes for our 3rd kill of the game, up to 112,000 damage done. Perhaps not a huge number, but this push is the thing that won us this game, I think. Looking back on it, and you can tell me what you think in the comments, but had we not done that push and been so successful, the outcome of this match might have been at least a little bit more competitive or closer, or the enemy team might have won. Still, though, it's not over. Shimanto's about to come around that corner, and we're going to need to send him back to port as well. He's only got about 15,000 HP, and he is slightly angled, which might actually be good for us. There go the shells, and there goes the Shimanto for our 4th kill of the game. Kraken is, of course, up for grabs now, but we're on perilously low health, and we're on fire without any more damage control parties to put it out. We've got Kutuzov shooting at us from the safety of a smoke screen, and the Shimanto's plane is unfortunately spotting us, due in large part to the fact we're on fire and can't put it out. So we cannot push straight into the Kutuzov. We're now at 12,000 HP. You can see just how quickly these fires take down hit points. Remember always that fire damage is based on percentages. It is based on 0.3% of the ship's total HP pool gets removed every second for a fire duration. And that means if you're burning for a full 60 seconds in a battleship, you're probably losing somewhere around 10, 11, maybe even 12k HP. If we get lit on fire again by that Kutuzov, we cannot put it out, so we will be very close to death, or we might actually die. We do have a heal, though, so we want to use that if possible, and what we want to do is get as close to these islands here as possible to make sure the Kutuzov cannot shoot over them and hit us. Luckily, the plane goes down, so we are able to go dark. And the idea is there's probably no way we're going to lose this game, and we are on low HP. Our friendly DD is capping the enemy base and has almost fully succeeded in that. So maybe we can push in. Maybe we can get some shots on the Lepanto and Kutuzov and secure the Kraken. We'll see if we can do that. Even if we don't, though, I think this would be a pretty good game by anybody's standards. And as far as using Azur Lane Sovetsky Rossiya as the commander and full sending it into concealment with Kondo and Swirski, well, I don't know. It might not have made much of a difference in this game. Might have at the same time. I don't know how far away other enemy ships were, and if they would have spotted us, if our concealment was worse at some points in this game. If so, we could have gotten shot and lost more HP. Who knows? In any case, I think I'm going to continue running this on the Lenin and the Vladivostok and see what can happen. Unfortunately, we don't get the Kraken, but that's okay. I'd rather win than get a Kraken, and we do win this game with 130,000 damage, more or less, 4 kills, 2,700 base XP on the leaderboard, and the Lenin, well, it's a ridiculous ship. It's probably a good thing that not everybody has this thing, even though you might want it. It's a little strong. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.